BBTV がお届けいたします。
All right, so her name is Eliza Bleu. At least that's her name today. That's her name this decade. She's gone by a lot of different names, which should already flag you as odd. She's Eliza Bleu today. She's been Eliza Nose. She's been Eliza Seep. She's been Eliza Morthland, which is, as I said, very strange. So this individual began trending, and I will tell you why the story matters. The story matters because this individual purports to be a sex trafficking victim. Not only does this individual purport to be a sex trafficking victim, it is basically their claim to any exposure, their claim to fame is having been a sex trafficking victim who's going out there and doing the hard work. Because imagine you live through sex trafficking and maybe you want to dedicate the rest of your life to making sure that no other individual suffers it. Now, for me personally, why is this story important to cover? Because sex trafficking matters. I have been passionate about all of these anti-trafficking efforts.
Considering that, I'm surprised on her take with the tape accusers / victims. Considering, you know, he wrote how he would use trafficking method on his website. So I didn't know that she felt that way about trafficking victims, but let's see.
Ever since I met Tim Ballard, you guys know that in a personal capacity I give to Operation Underground, because when I sat with him and he really explained to me what these victims go through, what some of these victims go through, and he actually adopted 2 children after rescuing them from Haiti. At the ages of 2 and 3, you imagine a hurricane takes place in Haiti, and it's an opportunity for human sex traffickers to descend into chaos and to take children and to sell them to be trafficked across the world. He is also...
Yeah, that seems like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like, I feel like that should be considered a form of terrorism.
I don't claim to be a sex trafficking victim myself, because to support these issues, you don't have to pretend to be a sex trafficking victim. That would be a very odd thing to do. More than odd, that's not even a strong enough adjective. It would be a demented thing to do. You'd be a very sick individual if you pretended to be a sex trafficking victim because it got you attention and it got you in touch with the right people. So that is why this issue matters, because people are claiming that Eliza Bleu, who claims to be a sex trafficking victim, is not one. In fact, they claim that she has been a person who has been involved in the sex industry willingly in her pursuit for fame and has failed to become famous for decades. She's now in her 40s. And then finally she realizes that if she says she's a sex trafficking victim and she tweets at Elon Musk, she can get attention, and that's happened. And she has helped to influence Twitter decisions pertaining to sex trafficking. She is now, and this is another reason why it matters, using sex trafficking to essentially erase her past, a very shady past that anybody should have the ability to ask her questions regarding. And she is having YouTubers' accounts suspended for talking about her history, right? So people are getting hit with strikes, people are getting hit with suspensions on Twitter. Brittany Venti her account has been frozen. She's in some temporary lock. I don't know if it's temporary or permanent on Twitter, because she raised valid questions regarding the history of this Eliza Bleu. She grew up homeschooled on a farm in Illinois. This is not your standard sex trafficking story. It's very weird that she, with the consent of her parents, moves to LA, Los Angeles, after high school. And this is the first time that she tells a story when she goes back into her childhood and says that she was sex trafficked. So let's hear her, this is her on a past podcast, describing the first incident in which she was sex trafficked. Take a listen.
So before I turned 18, my father drove me out to Los Angeles with the small amount of possessions that I owned. When I got to Los Angeles, within 48 hours, I was addicted to a drug that I only know is ice. I don't know what it was. This is quite a while ago, because now I'm 39 years old. So back then I was 17. So I don't know what it was, but it started off with the famous musician offering me a couple beers. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to fit in. I didn't really know any better. I hadn't come from an environment where drinking.
Why didn't she know better? Why didn't her parents teach her this? That's my question, especially when her father was able to get into government. He is the rep for Illinois. So why didn't they teach their daughter this? That's very strange. This is like this is probably like one of the earliest lessons my mom gave me, is like stranger danger, and also be careful in these type of situations. And mind you, my mom passed when I was 16. So she taught me before Eliza's age. I don't understand why her parents didn't teach her that.
The drugs were offered. I was under the influence, and then the serious grooming started. The gentleman who promised me the world ended up selling me after a couple days. I remember it.
That's very gentleman.
Really, I was sold for $500 to a very older gentleman in the hills. The
same price amount that her friend claims Eliza tried to traffic her by getting her into escorting for $500. Just want to remind you guys of that.
It was a trafficking ring. It was a prostitution trafficking ring for transgender folks.
So they thought she was a man? And I'm sorry, like, if it's an inappropriate laugh, but that's kind of funny. She's just like, yeah, I got trafficked with the transgender people. Like, what?
So she describes it as one incident in which she was sold. She has no proof that the incident took place. She says she had a drug overdose. She called her parents. The hospital called her parents. They picked her up, brought her back to the Illinois farm. And she stayed on the farm for 1 week, and then she went right back to LA. Now, call me crazy. You get sex trafficked, you have a drug overdose, and your parents come, and you end up back on your farm in Illinois. Odd behavior to then get right back into it. But you see, she talks about the fact that she had a boyfriend, right? And so the way that she, in each incident, because she's going to say she got sex trafficked only one other time later, she admits that these were relationships.
She's just saying that because it's the current thing keyword,
right?
Yeah, maybe.
And she's kind of recasting these relationships, and what sounds to me, she admits that she was a drug addict, and she sounds to me like she's been a drug addict for decades, that these individuals maybe got her to escort herself, okay? Now let's move on. So that's around 19.
Yeah, she has every sign of an escort possible.
And the next time she pops up on the radar is in 2002. So she's around 21 years old, and she tries out for Blind Date. Do you guys remember that show? Where they would get two people, and they would say, oh, you're going to go on a blind date today, and they would describe who they were to the camera. Here is Eliza, around the age of 21 years old, trying out for Blind Date.
Now, Eliza lives a rock and roll lifestyle. She says she's pretty exciting, but she still has problems when it comes to men.
I'm self-seeking, self-centered.
She does?
I have high expectations as far as sex goes. Sometimes they ask me, like, were you faking? Was that real? And I'm like...
So she's sexualizing herself. Did her pimp boyfriend make her do that? Did she make her try out and go on
that's a good point. She is sexualizing herself there.
Blind date on a show?
She's like trying to sell herself.
About how she is in bed. I don't know. Doesn't really seem like a victim to me in there, but who knows? Who knows? There can be all sorts of weird victim circumstances. She's not pretending, by the way, that
yeah,
she's
that one, sorry to pause again, but that one wasn't filmed on a Red Dragon camera, unfortunately. I think she learned from that event, and ever since then, she was on the quest to find the guy with the Red Dragon camera.
So that's in 2002, when she's around 21. Then we see her pop up again in 2005. So she's around 24, 25 years old, and she's still in this rock and roll emo phase. Around this time, she gains a cosmetology license in LA. She starts styling musicians. I'm putting that in air quotations here, because she really begins dating Gerard Way.
She looks fully white here. Did she get lip filler?
They break up, and she goes on to write fan fiction about My Chemical Romance after their breakup. Again, this sounds to me like a girl who would have done anything for fame.
How many of you wrote cringe fanfic above the age of 18? Because I feel like most people get that cringy phase out of their life when they're like 14, 15, 16. To me, that shows a little bit developmental stunt. A little bit of a developmental stunt, like emotionally.
She's a full adult person that is running the gamut through Hollywood, trying to become famous. She tries out for American Idol. Okay, she doesn't make it. She doesn't become famous on American Idol, so she's tried singing. She's tried being the girlfriend of. She's tried Blind Date. She's trying the reality circuits. None of this is working out for her. A couple of years later, she's now in her 30s, okay? She's the same age as me. She's in her early 30s, from about 30 to 33 years old. She admits that she's low on money. She admitted this in an interview, and that she was having difficulty. She had moved to Chicago during this period, and she was having difficulty affording rent at her Wicker Park apartment. Okay, so she's low on cash. We know that she drinks. We know that she does drugs. And she decides to try to get a job as a cocktail waitress at a strip club. But while she was at this interview asking to be a cocktail waitress, she says that they instead said, hey, why don't you try to dance? And she was like, oh, yeah, good idea. And she gets up and she tries out as a dancer, and she becomes a stripper.
She's making mistakes that people make when they're in their teens. So I think she's stunted.
She spoke out to the Daily Beast, who knew her. She claims that they were friends, and that during that time, and she's shocked that she's pretending that she was sex trafficked. She says during that time, she even tried to get me to be an escort. Carly Wenzel spoke out to the Daily Beast, and she said, quote, Eliza was absolutely loving it.
$500 a night.
Saying she was making so much money. She also went on to say that Eliza's a very powerful, very smart, intelligent woman. I will not discredit her for that. She knows exactly what she's doing. So she meets a guy who she says is an NBA star, an athlete, and he somehow got her to sex traffic her stuff again. But once again, she claims that this was her boyfriend. I'm going to read you, because she gave an interview about this, exactly what she says about this. So
I'm just saying, fool me once, shame on you. Wait, how does it go? Fool me once, shame on... Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on the chat. Fuck you guys. You're robots.
Asks her, when do you meet the man you say traffic?
How did she fall for it so many times, though?
Outside the strip club. And you won't name this guy either? It's not going to happen right now. I have to ask why. I can't, she said. You know I need to ask why. Like, are they still a threat to you, or is this for legal reasons again? If you told me the guy's name, I could look him up and uncover what's there, if anything. She made it clear once again that she wasn't going to name names. Are you afraid of retribution? I feel feelings of fear. I can't tell you anything at all. Like, I've only been sex trafficked 2 times, but I can't tell you any details.
Oh, I hope she goes into the part where Eliza's like, and Shane's like, were you a cam girl? And she's like, I don't remember.
I'd like to show you, she was on World Star Hip Hop, where she is shaking her ass like a hoe. It's the only way that you can possibly say it. She's not naked. We should be allowed to show you this video. But, and this is in her 30s.
The way she said
Again,
that.
In her 30s. This is a full adult woman shaking her ass like a hoe. But we can't show it to you because if we show it to you, it's going to get flagged on YouTube. Because
something about the way Candace says it makes me laugh because it reminds me of like the environment I grew up in, because my black side of my family raised me, and they would say shit exactly like that.
Take a look.
This is so ratchet. Specifically her, like somehow, tell me if I'm wrong here. Somehow in this second rap video coming up, this one, the guy looks like he belongs there, like he doesn't look ratchet, but she does.
She also had an appearance on the Steve Harvey show in 2012, where Tyra Banks judged her for her performance of her shaking her butt.
I think it's the eyeshadow
by
too.
the way, on the Steve Harvey show, shaking her booty.
Hi.
Well, both of them get you a car, that's for sure.
I love it.
So 1, 2, 3, Gucci Tooch. Oh, look, girl, you got it in the middle. You're working it. You are working the Gucci
Booty was
Tooch.
ready.
Yeah.
How sick and disturbing to think that you would then say that you were a victim of human sex trafficking. This is not how these stories look. The idea that a pimp is going to send you on a rap video shoot. What are you making, $200 for the whole day? Maybe if it's a big rap star, $1,000. And if you're the main girl in the video throughout the entire video, $1,500, right? The idea that a pimp is going...
No, Candace, it was $500, okay? She was trafficked for $500.
to send you for those low bits of money and be totally like, yeah, this is what I want you to do. I want to pimp you on rap music videos. Doesn't pass the sniff test with me. In fact, there's even a clip of her, because she went through a ghetto phase. She actually changes her entire voice.
I'm sorry, every time she calls her out for things like that, it's cracking
She's
me
like,
up.
you know, emo girl, black hair, bright blonde hair, changing her hair colors all the time and speaking normal. Then she starts speaking like Cardi B for a period of her life. She just totally switches how she speaks, and she's super ghetto. And this is her world star hip hop base. There's even a clip of her saying that guys were sliding in her DMs and asking to pay her big money to sleep with her, but she turned it down. Here's her in her own words.
$150,000 to have sex. I mean, it's a nice offer, but it's not me.
Turned it down.
I did, yeah. I did.
Was it hard for you to turn it down? Did
No,
you think about that for a
No,
little
it
bit?
wasn't even a question, no. It's just not my thing, you know?
She turned down $150,000 because it wasn't her thing. Does that sound like to you a woman who was being coerced to do anything? Coerced? Your pimp is going to allow you to turn down $150,000?
That's a good point.
I don't even think I've ever heard of that sort of an offer. Where are they making $150,000 to sleep with somebody?
That's how much they pay virgins to have sex.
She's now claiming that any person that's sharing anything from her past is digitally raping her. Wow. It's
I'm sorry. That sounds like something I would have said as a bit like 5 years ago, like in GTA. Oh my Gucci-ness, they're digitally raping me. Like that literally sounds like a bit I would have done. I wish I said it first. Like,
it sounds
that's
like
hysterical.
almost a leftist buzzword. You're digitally raping me if you show this remarkable 2-decade career I had selling myself for anything, just wanting to be famous. What do I do? A music video, I'll do it. Blind date, I'll do it. What do you want me on? I'll do it for any money. This is what girls that go to Hollywood do. It's a typical LA Hollywood story of a girl who did not make it is actually how it ends. In fact, on her own YouTube page, because she started one during the period in which she had, been sexually trafficked by a boyfriend, she started one, and she has a video of herself calling her mom excitedly to tell her that she was in a rap video. Take a listen.
Hello?
Hey, Mom, what are you doing?
Classic.
I just got off work. I tried to call, and he sent me a text message, so I thought I'd try to call you back.
Well, yeah, I was just calling you because I wanted to get your feedback and see what you thought about me being in music videos.
So I just want to clarify. Assuming what she says is true, that she was trafficked when she was 17 because her parents were hands off with her, and now she's in her 30s here, and or like 30 years old here, and she's calling her mom to say, hey mom, what do you think of me being in a rap video? Now, knowing her mom knows that she was trafficked underage, right, and has been taken advantage of, is susceptible to that. Would you, as the mom, when your daughter calls saying, Mom, I'm in music videos now shaking my ass, would you respond with A, get your ass back here? Or B, that's nice, honey. That's so funny. Haha. I'm just saying, if it were my daughter and I know that she had been taken advantage of already, and now she's going to go and put herself in Hollywood in that position in rap music videos, I absolutely would not be supportive of it. I'm not going to support her demise. But I just want you guys to take a guess. Like, which one do you think the mom chose here, A or B?
Being in a music video?
Yeah, about me being in music videos. You know how I started being in music videos?
The parent that let her be in LA at 17. I want you to guess
and
what she
definitely you could
chose.
just see the pimp being like, call your mom and tell her that you're doing videos. It's very weird that pimps would not want to completely isolate
The answer is she told her daughter it was funny, haha, teehee.
Isolation. Usually you don't have a great relationship with your mom, your Christian mom and your Christian father, who you're allowed to see whenever you want over the course of these decades. So what this really is and what this really represents is a woman who failed. She failed at everything. And what women do, and I've seen this happen over and over again in this movement when they fail at everything, is that they just repurpose themselves as victims. By the way, when she rebranded as a person who was going to help inform Twitter policy, she's rebranded herself as somebody on the right who is passionate about free speech. She actually once tweeted this. A journalist asked her about that video, of course, because it's
she'll die on the hill of free
you're
speech.
turning down $150,000 and you're a sex trafficking victim. And here's what she had to say about it. She said,
she must have died a long time ago.
Quote, I look at those videos and I see that I'm drunk, possibly high, not myself. I'm not the same person that's sitting here right now. I see those videos as a legit cry for help. Do I know if I was trafficked that day? I don't know. But something was going on behind the scenes. I have also repeatedly admitted that I had full-blown Stockholm Syndrome. I was never in chains. I actually went to the police department a few times in multiple places to try to report stuff. I was never welcomed with open arms. But at the same time, I was running cover for my abuser. If someone's in a Christmas picture...
If only she worked as hard to convict these abusers as she did chasing down the world star director.
With your husband, you think then that everything must have been fine at home? It's absurd. They can all say whatever they want. I've been completely transparent about the fact that I had extreme trauma bonds with my former abuser.
She totally could have gone through something. She does act like someone who's not mentally well, guys. I will say that. Does that mean she was trafficked? No, it doesn't mean she was trafficked. And yeah, is Stockholm Syndrome a thing? Absolutely. Absolutely happens in relationships where you love a person, you don't want to tell someone they're abusing you. I understand. But I think she's taking advantage of things that can be blurred and using it to her advantage because she's very manipulative.
I'm sorry, what? What are you?
She's not an honest person.
So you're basically, no, I wasn't sexually trafficked. Well, I was, but I was abused. Okay, I was turning down $150,000 while I was in this relationship with my abuser. But like also, because I thought we were in a relationship is why I was turning it down. And also I went to the police. I tried to go to the police, whatever that means. The police didn't invite me, but they didn't welcome me with open arms. But I was also running cover for my abuser at the police station.
Yeah, that makes sense why they wouldn't have you in open arms if you're running cover for your abuser.
That I tried to go to, but they didn't welcome me with open arms. Listen, whatever. The point is, I had Stockholm Syndrome. And none of this is making any sense. And if I was a respectable journalist, I would have pushed back on everything that she said, because it makes entirely no sense. If he was, in fact, your abuser, and if you were Stockholm Syndrome and he was sex trafficking you, why would he not make you get $150,000 that you were being offered? Oh, you don't know. I don't know. I see these videos. I just see a cry for help. I see a cry for help. That's all I can say. I think that there is a special place in hell for women that false accuse. I have hit this drum over and over and over again, and it will continue to be a beat that I do because it's so nauseating to me to consider that any woman could do this, that any woman could do this for fame.
Yeah. There you have it. Special place in hell for Eliza. That must be pretty damning to hear, because Eliza claims to be a Christian woman, and here's Candace, who's a Christian woman, saying, there's a special place in hell for you for this. Probably doesn't feel good her watching this. If she actually is a Christian, that is. She's changing personalities like a girl changes
that you could
clothes.
recast your life and your poor life choices as human sex trafficking. And if you are like me and you attend these annual galas where these women who actually have been sexually trafficked hit the stage and tell their harrowing tales, when you hear their moments of freedom, when you hear how it happened to them, when you hear how they were sold over and over again, when you hear how they were cut off, how they were isolated, how they had no friends and they had no family, when you hear how they were forced drugged, you don't hear about them trying out for American Idol. It's just such a nonsense. And then I tried out for American Idol. I don't know exactly the timeline that I tried out for American Idol, but then I went back. I can't remember exactly when I was sex trafficked, but yeah, I was talking to my mom and my dad. These are not the stories of sex trafficking victims. When you hear...
she missed the part in the article where she was like, I don't remember if I was a cam girl, and she literally is a chat star. That was...
These stories, and you cannot listen to these stories without crying. And then you come across someone like Eliza Bleu, and you realize that she's made it all the way to Elon Musk, and that she's online collecting money for what? Get this, ready? For vacation, because she's so exhausted as a survivor doing hard work that she's creating GoFundMes for $2,500, $10,000, a couple $1,000 so she can go on vacation and relax. Her life has been a vacation, if you ask me. Her life hasn't done anything. So my suggestion to Eliza Bleu is that she gets a job and that she stops threatening YouTube creators. Maybe she should start a YouTube channel where she talks about all of these.
Honestly, so true, Candace. My sister out here repping on Black History Month. Yeah, I agree. I think that that's an interesting point, that Eliza has to do all these desperate GoFundMes and begging hosts for money on shows she goes on, when she could have just started her own YouTube channel. Why does she have to continuously do this grift of, I can't afford Wi-Fi, meanwhile the router's literally in the background? I can't, I'm on my old iPhone. I help the victims from my old iPhone. Ooh, I'm so modest. Aren't I so humble? Why couldn't she use the money she got from Hotep Jesus or these fundraisers, these trips, anything, to start her own channel to help bring awareness? She wouldn't have to do these desperate things if she did that. She doesn't have to leech off of other people.
These things that she did, and all the famous people that she met in Los Angeles while she was busy not having a job and hoping that she was going to land a rich, famous person. Maybe she should talk about that athlete that she dated. Sell stories of him. People do that. It's a more respectable job. Why don't you start an OnlyFans? It's more respectable. All of this is a more respectable job than harnessing the real pain and suffering that some women go through, women and men go through, when their entire lives are stolen from them and they have no way out because they are being sexually trafficked. Honestly, Eliza Bleu, Eliza Knows, Eliza Stephen, Eliza Morthland, wherever it is that you're going by this week or the next, there is a special place in hell for women like you. And that's all I have to say about that. All right, guys, you know how this goes. The next portion of the
Is OnlyFans a more respectable job than grifting off of victims? Yeah, I'd have to agree on that. At least you're being honest about it. You're owning it. Yeah. I think most people would agree with that, actually. Surprisingly, yeah. Yeah. Even that's coming from me. You guys know I have harsh anti-porn stance. Yeah. 2 pounds from the cuck in moonlight shadow. I bet Eliza wipes back to front. And then she would follow up with, my shit's being trafficked. The Candace Owens video was pretty good. It was pretty concise. Had some funny moments. It was a good video. Yeah. I'm going to leave a comment on the video. I don't know what I should say. Thank you for the coverage of Eliza Bleu taking advantage of victims and using Twitter to help her deplatform others. There. Oh yeah, say hashtag Happy Black History Month. So true. I'm gonna go edit it. Hashtag Happy Black History Month. If you guys like my content and want to support more videos like these, you guys can go to my Patreon.